All right, here we go. First major phone release of 2021. This is the new Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra 5G. So this is the big boy out of the S21 lineup here, and this is my unboxing. So let's get into this thing. So the first thing you will notice is that the box itself is a lot skinnier, and that's because it doesn't come with a wall charger anymore. Surprise, surprise, I know. So let's get the lid off here, and we do have this little protective covering there, and then we do have the phone, and I'm gonna take that out. And I'm gonna set that to the side real quick, and let's see what we get inside of here. And we should have just a USB-C cable right here. There we go. And besides that, that's pretty much it. You just have this quick start guide right here and nothing else, no headphones, nothing like that. So definitely just what you can kind of live with one of these phones, the USB-C cable. That's all you're getting with these new S21s. But all right, now let's get to the big boy here. So normally this will come with like some protective covering on the screen and stuff, but this is a review unit. So I think Samsung played around with this a little bit, but taking off this protective cover on the back, we unveil this new Phantom Black finish that they have for this. So the two main colors they have for the S21 Ultra is Phantom Black and also Phantom Silver. And then also on Samsung's website, they will have 3 exclusive colors. And those 3 colors are Phantom Titanium, Navy, and Brown. But yeah, this color looks really, really, really nice. So it's not going to be totally invincible against fingerprints, but definitely a lot harder to get fingerprints on this versus like a glossy finish. And here's a side-by-side with the S20 Ultra from last year. And you can see it does have that glossy finish, which definitely isn't good for recording video. But you also see a difference in the rear-facing camera housings here. So Samsung is introducing this new contour cut camera housing for the S21 Ultra here. And basically this is going to allow the rear camera here to kind of flow into the edge of the phone, kind of seamlessly flow like that, where on the S20 Ultra you do have just the camera bump itself, which is separated from the side of the phone. So this doesn't mean that you don't have a camera hump here on the S21 Ultra here. It still kind of wobbles if you do touch it at the top of the screen, but it's a little bit less than what it was on the S20. And so the volume buttons, power buttons are in the same location. On the bottom, you will find the USB-C port, and they have moved the SIM card tray down to the bottom of the phone next to that USB-C port where it was at the top on the S20. And one new thing this year as well is that Samsung is getting rid of the micro SD card expansion slot, so you don't have that anymore. So at this point, let me just throw up the specs for this phone. And so you have 3 storage configurations. So you have 128, 256, and 512. Now with the 128 and 256 gigabyte versions, you do get 12 gigabytes of RAM, but if you do go up to the big boy, 512 gigabytes of storage, you will be getting 16 gigabytes of RAM. And also on the inside, you do get the Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 unless you live somewhere that still uses Exynos, but Samsung has made some improvements to their Exynos platform, so I'll talk a little bit more about that in my review. And this also does have 5,000 milliamps as far as the battery size, and it also does support the new Wi-Fi 6E standard. Okay, so look, I got this thing booted up. I went through the setup process, and let me just talk about the screen real quick, because look, Samsung makes some really good displays every single year for their phones, but this year, this 6.8-inch AMOLED display does have 50% in as far as improvement with the contrast ratio, but most importantly, this is going to be 25% brighter than the screen that came on the S20 Ultra. And so I know this might not look that great on camera here, but I do have the S20 Ultra here. I have the brightness turned all the way up, and let me do the same thing here on the S21 Ultra. And maxed out, boom. So hopefully you can see this on camera, but there is a brightness difference with this S21 Ultra. I definitely do see it. And where this is going to be beneficial is when you are outdoors and in bright sunlight, you want to turn that screen brightness up so you can see what's going on. This S20 Ultra will be better this year. And then also too with this S21 Ultra screen is that it's not, flat all the way, but it definitely doesn't have a significant curve to it. So if you are a fan of, kind of flat screens, this is not the absolute flattest that you can get, but definitely the curve is definitely not noticeable as it has been on previous generations. And this phone still does have that 120 hertz refresh rate that Samsung introduced last year on their phones. But the best thing this year is that you don't have to sacrifice the top screen resolution in order to get that higher resolution like you had to do with the S20. So you can go up to the maximum screen resolution here, 1440p on this thing. You can hit apply, and not hit these other buttons, but you can hit that, and then now you can have that maximum screen resolution, and then when you go to your motion smoothness, you can still keep it up to 120 hertz. Now I say up to 120 hertz because this is adaptive, so it can go between 10 and 120 hertz depending on what you're doing, and when you're not doing something that really can, take advantage of the higher refresh rates, it will bump that down to one that's lower, and that will help with the battery life. Oh, and one other thing with the screen on this phone this year is that it does have S Pen support, so you may have noticed this S Pen sitting on my desk here if I can pick it up. But anyway, now you can just pick up any S Pen that you've had with a previous Galaxy Note device, or you can buy one separately from Samsung. I think they go for around like 30 bucks or so. But now you can use the S Pen with it. So you don't have the convenience of the Galaxy Note lineup where you can store the S Pen inside of the phone like so. But Samsung will be selling a case for the S21 lineup where you can actually put the S Pen inside of that case so you can always have it with you. But yeah, now on the Galaxy S21 lineup of phones, you can create a note, start scribbling down something, and yeah, it's pretty convenient so you don't have to go always with the Galaxy Note lineup. And you still get the ultrasonic fingerprint scanner underneath the display on this phone, but the surface area is going to be 1.7 times bigger than it was on the S20. So that means that you should have less opportunities for your fingerprint not being read correctly because you have that extra space to play around with. So yeah, it feels good so far, but we'll see how it is in use. All right, y'all. So now let's get to the quad camera setup here on the back because it looks like it has a lot going on, which it does. So you do have an ultra wide camera and you do have an 108 megapixel wide angle camera that can do 12-bit RAW photos in pro mode, and also too it can do 12-bit HDR photos. And then you do have two telephoto lenses, so not one but two. And so basically these are going to be working together with the space zoom feature that Samsung introduced last year with the S20 Ultra. And one of the promises of this setup with space zoom is that when you get to 30 times and 100 times zoom, as you can see here in my quick test, that it's going to be a lot more stable than it was last year. And that's important when you're at these zoom ranges because any type of movement can just make your picture just look even worse. And some other things better with this camera include a better night mode, and I'll test that out when it becomes night. And then also to the single take mode, which when you press the button once, it'll take a bunch of different photos and different video clips and slow motion clips and different things like that at the same time. This year is going to be better and you have more options with that. And then also when it comes to video recording, Samsung is allowing you to record at 4K up to 60 frames per second with every camera on this phone. So that includes the 4 cameras on the back and the single camera on the front. And then also 8K video recording is also making a return. It still only goes up to 24 frames per second, but the screen grab feature where you can take a still image from an 8K video is going to be better too and should hopefully be getting you better quality. Oh, and you also have some more kind of creative modes. So you have this director's view will allow you to see the thumbnail preview of all of your cameras and allow you to kind of switch between the one you think has the best shot for that moment. And then you also have this vlogger view, which will record not only the rear facing camera, but also the front facing camera at the same time. And also in video recording, you can record the audio from the phone and also to a pair of earbuds at the same time. So if you do have like the Galaxy Buds Live or even the new Galaxy Buds Pro that Samsung just announced, you can record the audio from those two sources at the same time. And so yeah, that's pretty much the major stuff with this phone. Now there are some other things like ultra wideband support, so you could use this phone to be able to unlock your car doors, but that's not coming until like 2022 with select cars. But Samsung has also announced SmartThings integration with Android Auto, so you can use this phone with Android Auto to be able to control your smart home while you are in your car. And so if you are interested in this phone, you can pre-order starting today, and it will be made available on January 29th. And so it starts at $1,199, and of course as you go up in RAM and storage, that price will also go up as well. But if you do pre-orders, you will get some really good deals from Samsung. Just check out the website for all of that information. And also, if this phone is too big for you, the S21 and S21 Plus were also announced, and I will have some coverage coming up soon on those phones, so stay tuned to that. Subscribe to this channel and you'll see when I upload that stuff. But right now, I'm about to get out of here. Thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you later. Peace.